caring about the climate. You might have heard that we announced a pretty bold 12-month, $2 million campaign to do 4 things. Increase climate literacy, turn up the volume on communities of color in the climate conversation, connect everyday people with the resources they need to survive and thrive, and highlight frontline climate justice crusaders of color throughout this year. KBLA Talk 1580 will be bringing you insightful interviews on all of our shows to help raise your climate IQ. Each quarter this year, we will also be hosting free climate events in various communities throughout the city with food, fun, and forward-thinking conversations. Thanks to partners like LADWP, Metro, Caltrans, the Sierra Club, the California Community Foundation, the California Endowment, AQMD, MWD, and more. You'll also be hearing more about a couple of national town halls broadcasting live from Los Angeles, to which you will be invited. And we'll be rolling out a robust social media campaign on all our platforms, as well as an outdoor media campaign, all designed to educate, enlighten, and empower you in our fight for climate justice.
We want cleaner air.
Caring about the community means caring about the climate. At KBLA Talk 1580, we believe that we really can change the world if we care enough. If we care enough. If we care enough. If we care enough.
Tell me how you want it, yeah. Call me and I'm on my way. Tell me that you need me, yeah. I'll give it to you night and day. I'm talking about Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, all day, yeah, yeah. 24/7, yeah, all day, yeah, 24/7.
Loving the shit out you, for 7 days straight, and now I can't live without you. And if we ever broke up, I won't have a kid without you. You forever in my heart. I won't forget about you. I be crushing you on Monday like it's Wednesday. You pressed about that what your friends say. G63 is what your business say. I'm so happy you ain't listen to your friends, babe.
Welcome in to hour 3 of RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. You know, Andy's always on theme. That's Meek Mill. Speaking of, Meek has a new album dropping that EP? Okay. New EP dropping. I can't hear Andy. He's giving me the clues.
Yeah, it's just an EP with like 5 tracks.
Okay. So I'm bringing that up. Obviously, we're going to be talking about Meek Mill, but he did use his rant about this alleged lawsuit filing to promote said EP, and was like, you guys are just trying to stop the motion, basically, of his coming EP with all of this foolishness. Meek went on, as Meek is known to do, a very, very long, actually still kind of going, Twitter X rant, responding to the fact that in that legal briefing filed by Lil Rod, a producer that worked on the Love album with Diddy, that we went over last night, that has a lot of allegations in it, a lot of things being put out there, so much so that it bought the victim out of the 1999 club shooting with Shine, Diddy, and J-Lo to comment on some of the things that were revealed in this said document. We'll get into that maybe in a little bit, but Meek, he went on, it's called Don't Follow the Heathens. Heathenism. That's the name of his EP that is dropping. Part of the summary of it says, against the odds, Meek Mill continues to thrive just as he rightfully deserves. So, you know, I mean, good promotion, I guess. You want to keep him talking, kind of uncomfortable, but Meek is so interesting with the Twitter rants, because if it's supposed to help, it usually doesn't. And whenever I think about Meek digging himself further and further into a hole, I think about that summer when he and Drake went back and forth over social media when he was still dating Nicki, and how Drake just kind of crushed him a little bit at the end of that. I also think about him posting the picture of him legs in the pool with fries on his bare legs. So, you know, listen, I know Dreams and Nightmares is like a forever hype theme song, but look, back to back, he ended them with the slow jam. But Meek has seemed to cause himself more harm than good when he gets in his own devices.
What did he say?
My Taurus brother. He said a lot. Okay, let me see where to start. So first he went in on academics because academics was also, I guess, read different parts of this legal brief on his show.
I read all 73 pages and I was humored.
And
like there were some things that I like laughed out loud because it was like, what?
There was a lot there. A lot. And so since some of it, there's various forms of people, as we discussed last night, Stevie J was like, nope, not me. The alleged adult film star who said that it was a clip from one of his films in this clip that was, because here's the thing, you don't have to include screenshots and stuff like that in the filing. So I don't know, his lawyer looked a little unprofessional, but it was a key. We'll see what happens with it. But Meek is like, the way you naysayers coming on the sick now. I can't wait to meet academics. They know I drop tomorrow. This is their damage control. This net is getting too weird. Then he said, bands ain't gonna play no games with me. They try. You know what a band is, right? Okay, cool. All right. They're trying to do damage control, the same thing that they almost tricked y'all with Little Baby. Academics is an alcoholic fully powered by the white man. Who you think posting that on every website? They be so mad they can't stop. It's a few groups. Get me his Addy. I'ma shoot a full production music video in front of his house. Seriously, get it to me now. He also, Andy's gearing up. He also said, I'm from Philly. I don't do coke or freak Molly. Nobody won't even offer me coke because I'm that heavy. No man would ever approach me about gay activity. And the whole place don't get flipped. Woke up seeing this on every blog, like now they know I'm coming. Then he says, so Andrew Tate, you guys have heard of Andrew Tate. He's jumped in and said, so P. Diddy was having sex with Meek Mill and Usher. And Meek Mill responded and said, was your sex... and again, like I said, I'm trying to read this, but, grammar. Were you sex trafficking women? Wrong. What wrong with you, buddy? And somebody send me the actual lawsuit. These blogs making y'all stupid day to day. And then my favorite, I'm probably gonna add this into my mix. He says, that's why I always come around the industry. Well, not this part. I'm gonna read this to you. That's why I always come around the industry naysayers with my real friends. You never catch me around anybody from the industry alone. You can't even hold a convo without my dog stepping into the room. It's been that way. I can't wait till y'all find out I'm the illest in this. The thing that I said that was funny that I might use is he was like, I bet it's AI. I'm going to start, when I don't like something, I'm just going to say, it's AI. And that's how we'll dismiss it. Listen, when we come forward, we really already got Trent's reaction. And we're going to get Andy's reaction. All of that and more on the other side. You're locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Trending topics and the hottest happenings. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Some people just know the best places to eat around town. Those are the people who know to choose Allstate. They know exactly where to go to get exactly what you're wanting. They know where to find the spiciest hot pot, the gooeyest brownies, and the tenderest, most flavorful portobello steak. Those people also know that safe drivers save 40% with Allstate.
Saving 40% is based on the national average premium savings for all state auto customers with a clean driving record versus those without. Savings vary by state and vary based on how you buy, subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Tax Talk with Straight Talk.
You give and you give. This tax season, you get with Straight Talk Wireless. You get a reliable 5G network and unlimited data and a new Samsung Galaxy A15 for just $99. So you can give your janky phone to your kid. Yeah! Good talk.
Switch to Straight Talk for plans starting as low as $25 a line per month for 4 lines. Find us at Walmart and straighttalk.com. For network management practices, visit straighttalk.com. Device offer ends 4/14/24. In-store activation on single Silver Unlimited plan or higher required. Family plan discount with 4 lines, all on the Silver Unlimited plan. Taxes and fees apply.
It's game day at Jim's house, and the spread is impressive.
Mike's already done some damage with the hot wings, and now he's dropping back and going deep for another slice of pizza.
I sure hope he brought the Pepto.
Mike knows that Pepto-Bismol provides fast 5-symptom relief from unexpected stomach upsets. He's no rookie.
The way he's throwing back those nachos, he's the GOAT.
Be ready for game day with Pepto-Bismol.
When you have nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, diarrhea.
Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 reminding you that we keep us safe. Pro Football Hall of Famer and urban peace pioneer Jim Brown believed in just that. So he founded the Amera I Can Foundation for Social Change in 1988, focusing on at-risk and high-risk youth in underserved schools and juvenile detention facilities, as well as adult incarceration and reentry initiatives. The core of the Amera I Can program is its 15-chapter life skills curriculum. Mastery of these skills allows individuals to meet their academic potential, conform their behavior to acceptable societal standards, and improve the quality of their lives by equipping them with what they need to confidently and successfully contribute to society. Today, the foundation is led by its president, Monique Brown, who has been actively involved in the organization for more than 25 years. The Amera I Can Foundation continues its work in memory of its founder, actor, philanthropist, and NFL legend Jim Brown. To get involved or make a donation, please visit AmeriICanCommunity.partners. That's AmeriICanCommunity.partners. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Hey, keeping you informed, entertained, and always ahead of the curve. This is RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
You were locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. So, Trent, Andy, I would like to hear, do you think Meek Mill makes these situations worse with his Twitter activity, or is it simply because he also is dropping this EP, taking the notion of all press is good press, and if it's out there, I'm going to run with it?
Nothing that he said made any sense. He ran in a circle. It was like a dog chasing its tail. What did he really say, do, besides make everybody look and say, yeah, y'all boyfriends? You was at them parties. Yeah.
I mean, well, he was definitely at some parties. And there's lots of videos.
It's just very odd to sit up and make a statement like, oh, I don't go to any industry event without my real friends. Sir, you're by yourself. It's pictures of you and Puffy by yourselves. Just you two on a date.
Don't say that. Don't
okay, allegedly.
Okay, so let me tell you why. Right. Okay, so let me tell you why I know you're being funny, but why I'm saying it like that is that the flip side of this is, sometimes smoke fire, right? We're just going to put this to the side and just say smoke fire, general statement, right? And I've shared this with you before. I don't like when people weaponize outing people.
Oh, I am totally against it because I know what that's like. I completely get it.
I know, and I just and so that is one of the things. Like Aubrey O'Day came out and said shortly after Meek started tweeting, from Day 26. I'm not Day 26. I'm sorry.
Danity
Danity
Kane,
Kane.
yeah.
Yes. Showstopper. We in the car.
I love
we
Danity
riding
Kane.
slow. That was
Aw.
my song. She said, we're getting caught up in all of the salacious details about sexuality and not about, this person being a repeat abuser, right?
And
Allegedly.
she said something else too in that same video. She was like, if you ever want to hear about something along the lines of sexual trauma, just talk to a guy after sex or something like that. She was like, you hear about sexual trauma at these places all the time. So there was a lot in that. That was a loaded interview.
So
but
I mean,
to your point.
Well, this was a tweet today. Like, I mean, I know
there's
she did some interviews
an
and stuff.
interview,
Yeah.
where she said the same thing.
But this is like one of the things that I have about this suit, right? Let's say that 75% of it is true, right? And 25% of it is, a little fluff, right? Hypothetically. The salacious stuff, I feel like, or just trying to get things, I guess to trend or whatever, those are the type of things that people will latch on to dismiss people and situations later on. And I guess that's why sometimes I'm like, I play all day and things of that nature. But if we want to get to a point, right, where we respect the differences, knowing that the differences are there, right? And we understand that, sexual assault can happen to both men and women, right? And it can happen, same sex, it can happen opposite sex, it can be a woman, all of these things, and really take it seriously. I'm not saying that we can't, this is going to sound crazy, and I'm not saying to joke about this, but I'm not saying that you can't find different ways to get the point across. And this isn't about you specifically, but how do we reach that point, right, where it's not just about the dirty deeds and you care as much, if this may not be the case in this situation, but you care as much about a male victim as you do a female?
I think the reason why it's so salacious is because, well, here's the thing. Anytime that there are two black men in any homosexual situation, it's automatically going to be, it's like, ooh, it's such a hot button topic, no matter what. But I think the reason why it's so salacious is because we know Sean Combs to be a heterosexual. And he operates as a heterosexual.
He does.
For all intents and purposes.
But how, for the past 20 years, have there... not even just, I'm not talking about deep industry stuff.
I know where you're going with this. Even though the rumors have surrounded him, okay? And I'll even say this. Those rumors that we've heard, even though they were national, in my mind, they were local to Los Angeles and industry stuff. Because a person in Iowa... New York, okay, sure. Because Wendy Williams, right.
Yeah.
But in my mind, a person in the middle of America has not heard about these rumors. They don't really... It hasn't reached that point. And because Puffy operates under the guise of, I've got kids, I've got this longtime girlfriend, I've got all these beautiful girls, we don't think of him as a gay person. So we hear...
So let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Taking out the alleged, and I know it's hard and this doesn't make sense, but I think you'll understand where I'm going with this. Do you think that he is a gay person? Wouldn't he be, in theory, if this were the case, perhaps bi or queer? We've had these terms, right?
Yeah.
Presented to us, and that they mean very different things and very different times. I mean, I know what we grew up thinking.
Yeah. I want to pose a question, and I don't really talk about this a lot. But what makes a person gay? No one can ever answer that question. They think that it's simply because I have sex with a man. It's not what it is. That's not what gay is. Gay is when you have an emotional attachment to a man. When you roll over in the morning and there's a man on the other side of you, that is, you're gay.
I think that's the thing. Like I saw.
Gay is not necessarily the sexual act. It's more so the emotional attachment to a man.
So here, being that.
So
question,
do I think that he is gay? No, I don't. By the definition of what I think gay is? No. But does he have engaged in sexual encounters? Maybe.
Because
allegedly,
there's this clip that's floating around on social media. It's from Law and Order SVU, and it was, during the ripped from the headlines era. And what it was is that the actor, it was a black actor, supposedly an athlete, was like, I have relationships with women, but I have sex with men. And Tutuola, Ice-T, says that means you're gay. And that very much, in the past would have been the explanation, hands down, bar none.
Right.
But now there's, other avenues. Do you think that based on the fact that we are more open as a society as far as sexuality, I am not talking about from the abuse aspect, but just in general, do you think that someone, not the brutality, just the idea that a once presenting straight man, lover guy, or whatever, was like, I'm bisexual, do you think that they could still thrive in this current era? Because I do. It might be a little different. Do you know what I'm saying? But I don't think it's the career killer that it would have been 10 years ago.
Correct. If a person led with that and was upfront, then it would be okay. People would go for it. They probably wouldn't openly support it. It's like having a Millie Jackson record in your house. You're not gonna really tell everybody you got the Millie Jackson record, but you're listening to it after dark.
I mean, because great point. Because I think about, Wayne Brady has come out as pansexual or queer. We've seen, for example, Candace Parker, when she first got into the WNBA, she was in a relationship. She got married and has since, divorced, found love with a woman, surrogate, children in her family is like that. We also saw that with Cheryl Swoops and, just various things. So I feel you, and you're right. Like, obviously, if they led with that, it's a different conversation. But I think even in the getting caught up, you think of someone like Bobby Valentino, where there were rumors swirling around him and his likes and wants for a very long time. And I think he kind of came clean with it at some point, and then it just went away.
Right. It usually always does. But again, black men are not afforded that same luxury of having an open kind of concept of sexuality and what that really means and what that looks like. So we're always, again, anytime you bring up black and gay in the same sentence, as far as a man is concerned, there's always going to be this. It's going to be a hot button topic because it's so layered.
It is. Carrie Webb says, I've never heard it that way before, Trent. Is that why so many men, the DL, don't consider themselves gay?
Correct.
I think that is very much the crux of 90s black gay literature. If you read most of it, a lot of those conversations or their explanation as to why they weren't gay was for that very reason. And I think
there is no emotional connection. It's just a sexual situation.
I think that defined a lot of the, fear, for lack of a better word, but, the fear base that was built up about that in the 90s. And then, another example is for colored girls. Why am I like...
Yes. So you doing a bending. Right.
I mean, I think that those are the, you know what I mean? That color that. But you have every right to defend your name or whatever, although Meek didn't really have to say anything because, he was like, all the blogs are playing with my name. But again, this document, they did that. They redacted the name and then... The footnote
told all the business. Rapper from Philadelphia who dated Nicki Minaj.
Like, what are you doing?
My favorite passage from that whole entire thing was it was on line number 62. And it reads, though these sexual deviant acts, one would say Mr. Combs has a pattern and practice of engaging in such nefarious activity. This ongoing conduct shows that Mr. Combs cannot be rehabilitated. That summed up the whole 73 pages. Cannot be rehabilitated. Pattern cannot be rehabilitated.
But do you think that if someone comes in, right, because we do know even in the midst of, perhaps true situations and whatever, there can be some clout chasers, some let me see if I can get a check.
At a certain point, and we've talked about this before, at a certain point, not only are you a willing participant, you sign up for it and you engage. Because you don't leave.
Yeah.
So let's see. So based on what I've read, if I'm working for a celebrity, and I have before, and there comes a point where they're walking around the house naked, and this is who they are, girl, I'm out. Unless I'm trying to engage with them in that realm, because I'm not about to put myself in a situation where that is getting ready to happen. I feel uncomfortable. I'm removing myself. You talk to he's just him being him. Okay, well, if that's just him being him, well, I'm going to take him be me at home, because this is a situation. And you have to make a choice. Either you're going to deal with this and put up with the sexual harassment, and for the check, or for whatever, because we don't know what people have gone through before they got to the situation. So you stay there and you engage and deal with it for the check, or you go home.
I asked this last night. How do we protect people from themselves? Because there is such a desire, right, to be an entertainer or be in these. It can happen anywhere.
Yeah.
But how do you protect someone from going balls out because of this and losing their moral center and compass, right? And having a choice. Again, nothing specific, just in general. But then 2 years later, having buyer's remorse.
You just said it. You have to have a moral compass, and it has to be working. And then it comes down to discipline and self-control and knowing who you are and what you're willing or not willing to compromise about yourself in order to get where you have to go. Integrity. That's where all these things come into play. Yeah. Integrity, discipline, awareness, and removing yourself, because there have been a couple situations that I've been in where it's like, okay, you know what, girl, let me just go ahead and slide on the back door, because this is going to backfire on me 10 years from now. If I don't say nothing, this is going to come out in the wash some kind of way, right? It is. Even if I don't, you never know how something's going to come up, which is why I always tell the story. Oh, George Lucas fired me. I always jump ahead of it, because you don't even know how that story's going to come out. It wasn't anything bad or nefarious, but I worked for George Lucas and he fired me, right? Good story to tell. Love it.
When we come forward, we'll have more trending topics and headlines. You were locked in to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
You be throwing that shit back like it's a Thursday. I be treating you like every day your birthday. Some ain't f***ing with you on your worst day. I got you on a new level like what first say. When you feel down, I pick you up, put on your crown and lift you up. I put a rock all on your finger, so much ice could push you up. Heard they feelings about you, baby, told them I wish them luck. Talking relationship goals, this could be us.
Infusing a sense of fun and entertainment in every episode. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
More when we come forward.
I'm Amber Payton. Here's the latest on the Black Information Network. Tennessee's Comptroller's Office will assist the Shelby County Clerk's Office. It comes as Comptroller of the Treasury, Jason Mumpower, called the office incompetent, saying he has no confidence in the way it manages its affairs. Shelby County Clerk Wanda Halbert, who is black, has been under fire for a while, with officials claiming she's not doing her job and some calling for her to be fired or resign. Mumpower says a team of auditors is being sent to Shelby County and workers will be helping with certain tasks. Some Tennessee parents are not happy about proposed changes to the MLK Academic Magnet School. It would get rid of 7th and 8th grade and expand the number of high school students allowed in the school. Those against the potential change spoke up during the Metro Nashville Public School meeting this week, worried that it would leave just one academic magnet middle school in the county. MNPS has the plan to phase out the grades by 2027. That's the latest. I'm Amber Payton on your home for 24/7 News, the Black Information Network.
What does it take to take on Alzheimer's? Courage to learn the facts and know the signs. And confidence to talk to your healthcare provider about screening and early detection. Find out how you can take on Alzheimer's at takeonalz.com.
Climate is king.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we believe that caring for the community means caring about the climate. You might have heard that we announced a pretty bold 12-month, $2 million campaign to do 4 things. Increase climate literacy, turn up the volume on communities of color in the climate conversation, connect everyday people with the resources they need to survive and thrive, and highlight frontline climate justice crusaders of color throughout this year. KBLA Talk 1580 will be bringing you insightful interviews on all of our shows to help raise your climate IQ. Each quarter this year, we will also be hosting free climate events in various communities throughout the city with food, fun, and forward-thinking conversations. Thanks to partners like LADWP, Metro, Caltrans, the Sierra Club, the California Community Foundation, the California Endowment, AQMD, MWD, and more. You'll also be hearing more about a couple of national town halls broadcasting live from Los Angeles, to which you will be invited. And we'll be rolling out a robust social media campaign on all our platforms, as well as an outdoor media campaign, all designed to educate, enlighten, and empower you in our fight for climate justice.
We want cleaner air.
Caring about the community means caring about the climate. At KBLA Talk 1580, we believe that we really can change the world. If we care enough.
The first time I tried to quit vaping, I told myself that it was like a mountain that I had to climb over. And once I got to the other side, it would be clear. But I couldn't make it over. What really got me to quit was my little sister. I saw her vaping. So I was back in the mountain, but this time, she was up there with me. It's weird what you can do for others that you won't do for yourself.
Every attempt is part of your story to quit for good. Visit Kick It California today at kickitca.org.
If we're the ones disproportionately impacted by these climate catastrophes,
Why should we be silent?
turning up the volume all year long on the climate conversation for KBLA Talk 1580.
My mom has taken up going to the park to practice yoga.
My dad's going to a club, but not a book club, a salsa club.
Finding new hobbies comes with age.
My mom has started getting lost and not knowing where she's going.
Becoming lost or disoriented doesn't. Confusion with time or place may be a sign of Alzheimer's. An early diagnosis can help improve the quality of life for your loved one. Learn the warning signs of Alzheimer's at 10signs.org. Brought to you by the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Tips to help improve your credit score in 2024. Establishing credit is an important key to achieving financial health, but building a credit history from scratch can feel challenging since you need credit to build credit. First, what does it mean to build credit? All consumers have a score between 300 and 850. You want your score to be as high as possible as lenders look at your credit score to make loan and credit decisions. A good credit score shows you have a track record of borrowing money responsibly. Remember, it's never too late to build or rebuild your credit. This segment is sponsored by JP Morgan Chase & Company.
Spilled your drink? Quick, the quicker picker-upper. Bounty picks up spills quicker, and each sheet is 2 times more absorbent, so you can use less than the leading ordinary brand. So you can get back to your night. Bounty, the quicker picker-upper.
With no fees or minimums and no overdraft fees, banking with Capital One is the easiest decision in the history of decisions. Even easier than choosing Charles Barkley in a pickup game.
We'll take Barkley.
Ha! First pick. Sorry, kids. Yep, even easier than that. With no fees or minimums and no overdraft fees, is it even a decision?
Okay, here's the plan. Pass me the ball every time.
This is banking reimagined. What's in your wallet? Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com/bank for details. Capital One NA, member FDIC.
Girl, I have a secret. When I get stressed out, I get sweaty. That's why I use Secret Clinical Antiperspirant. It's like my own secret weapon. For 72 hours, I get Secret's strongest protection against sweat caused by stress, heat, and activity, because you know how crazy life can get. Plus, it's made with advanced odor fighters that don't just cover up smelliness. They help prevent it from happening in the first place. Believe me, if I weren't wearing Secret, I'd be a hot, smelly mess. Thankfully, Secret works.
Curating the most compelling stories and delivering them straight to your ears. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Shout out to Andy for bringing it in. So, Andy, we never got your thoughts on Meek Mill. Do you think that Meek Mill does himself a disservice with his reckless tweeting and how he's approaching all of this?
Trigger fingers turn to Twitter fingers.
I mean,
you're getting body by singing. Yeah, man, it's just a bad look, bro. Like, the thing is that, you know, when these statements come out, you know, these exposures of people, sometimes when people respond, they don't respond to the actual allegation. And to me, when you don't respond to the actual allegation, and who knows, it's probably a legal thing, you know what I'm saying? But
yeah,
it comes off like what's being said is true about
misdirection,
you.
Like that he's trying to misdirect with other things.
Absolutely. You really mad at academics for reading a document that's public. You know, it's for the public. So why are you tripping off for academics? Why don't you talk about what's in those allegations? He was better off being quiet. Now, I get it. He dropped the EP. You know what I'm saying? That's probably the reason why I've seen a lot of his recent tweets. It's a lot of retweets from people, you know, bigging up the album or whatnot. But, yeah, it's kind of like, you know, to kind of deter people away from what's really going on. But it doesn't help them out at all.
Well, we shall see what the next wave, what happens from there. As mentioned last night, Diddy's lawyer, Sean Hawley, has said that it's all lies and that they have proof upon proof upon proof. So we will have to see what develops with that. Shout out to Prester John in the chat. He said Prince did some of his best work before he hit big on the pop scene. Prince Jazz Funk Sessions 1977 instrumental. I'm not sure what that is. I know, I think I was like 10 years old when I found out who Prince was. And I remember like my friend had all the albums. So I was like, can I borrow? Literal vinyl. And then it started my lifelong quest for Prince. And I have bought all of his albums multiple times. Vinyl, cassette, CD, streaming. Yeah. In the building.
Wow, we've really seen some transitions with our music in our lifetime.
You think about it, right? Like when I was a kid.
8-tracks. No, we still had an 8-track player in my house. We had that big wooden floor one that you slide open at the top with the big speakers.
And then you stick it in there. Yep.
Yes.
I remember. Listen. And you would have to literally press the track thing, and it would only have like 2 or 3 songs per the little track thing or whatever. And then somehow that evolved into cassettes. But you think about even like when the VCR dropped, there was VHS and Betamax.
Betamax, yep.
And people were like, Betamax is going to be the one. And a lot of people don't even know what a Betamax is.
They don't.
They probably don't even know.
And then came a laser disc.
Man, stupidest in between ever. Like what?
A big record.
Right? A big record with movies
CD player.
On it. Much more efficient. And think about how quickly those changes started picking up, right?
It's like every decade we had something new. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because the 80s was the cassette tape, and then the 90s was the CD player, and then in the 2000s we had the button to stream.
Apple. Well,
MP3.
Yeah, MP3 first, LimeWire, really.
Yes,
and then,
Napster, and then a button.
Yeah. Listen, the thing and I say this all the time, it really should, record store, that's why you have to be forward thinking. That's why you have to look at the market and kind of see, all right, where do we think the audience of the future is going to be looking around? Because the brick and mortar record stores totally mistimed that. They should have been, because they had it was called online, I believe at the time. They had online sites where you could go and buy the product, but They should have looked at, I mean, yeah, it's free music, but the portability of it as well. They were already at that point pushing for us to be a singles business, you know. I don't know. Prester John also says Diddy's lawyer is about to be on some show me the receipts BS. But why is it BS? I mean, that's what all lawyers are going to be on. You know, if you make allegations, you got to have the proof. And they say they have the proof to back it up, but, you know, we'll see how that all goes down.
I think at this point, anybody that comes after Sean Combs is trying to get that quick settlement check like Cassie did, and I don't think he's going to come up off any more money like that, because honestly, I think that broke him.
I mean, I think the thing with Cassie, though, is like they were together for a very long time. He probably thought there was still some level of trust or whatever you want to call what their situation was. And maybe he thought at some point they would get to a number without it going public like it did. But we said it at the time. Obviously, the minute she filed that suit, it opened up the floodgates and set a tone of how to do it, where to push for. Because even the involvement of the chairman of Universal Music Group as a whole, it's kind of like, really? Really? But we'll have to see what develops with that. As I said, when we come forward, we'll have more trending topics and headlines. We'll get final thoughts from Trent on the night. All of that and more on the other side. You're locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
RSVP with Jill Munroe is your go-to show for staying in the know. More engaging conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
JP Morgan Chase is building on the investments in California to help close the racial wealth gap and build a more equitable future. Visit jpmorganchase.com/racial equity and get the tools to help reach your financial goals.
Eggs are a staple in our diets, and there's only one egg with more delicious farm fresh taste plus superior nutrition. Eggland's Best. With more vitamins, including 6 times more vitamin D and 10 times more vitamin E, plus 25% less saturated fat than ordinary eggs. Available in so many delicious varieties: classic, cage-free, and organic. Eggland's Best. Better taste, better nutrition, better eggs.
KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 believes in community empowerment. LA's 99 neighborhood councils form the grassroots level of the Los Angeles city government. The system was created to connect LA's diverse communities to City Hall. While neighborhood council board members are volunteers, they are also public officials elected to office by the members of their community. Neighborhood councils advocate on issues like homelessness, housing, land use, emergency preparedness, public safety, parks, transportation, and sustainability. They also provide local expertise on the delivery of city services to their various communities. Neighborhood councils are open to participation by anyone who is a part of the fabric of daily life in said community. This includes those who live, work, or own property or a business. If you are interested in stepping up to join your local neighborhood council, visit www.empowerla.org. That's empowerla.org. It's time to think globally, but act locally. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
I started vaping my freshman year of high school, mostly because all my friends had vapes. I wanted to fit in with them and look cool and be a part of everything that they were doing. The hardest part about quitting for me was all my friends still hitting their vapes right next to me. It was really frustrating and confusing when I was trying to quit because in my head I knew I didn't want to do it anymore, but for some reason my brain still wanted it.
No quit story is the same. For free support, text Kick Nicotine to 66819 today.
Watch out! You got me!
The galaxy is safe once again.
In the pretend universe, kids play with pretend guns. In the real world, it's up to us to make sure they don't get their hands on a real gun. If you have a gun in the house, keep it locked, unloaded, and stored separately from ammunition. Safe gun storage saves lives. Learn how to make your home safer at endfamilyfire.org. That's endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by End Family Fire, Brady, and the Ad Council.
Now back to more captivating conversation on RSVP with Jill Munroe.
You are locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. Well, it's only right that we end the night with this kind of caveat. Well, there's two, actually. First up, we've talked about singer Tiffany Red a couple of times throughout this Diddy ordeal. She was good friends with Cassie. She said she wrote some music for her, witnessed some things in their friendship. She recently spoke out about song publishing and royalties and accused several songwriters, artists, some that are double, of taking royalties for songs that they didn't participate in actually writing the song. But she has also confirmed on a recent live that she is preparing to sue Diddy herself, along with several record labels, over old records that she wrote for Cassie that she was not paid for. And she also made some comments about her career not blossoming because she refused to have sex with certain people in the industry. So, Trent, you're looking commentary. You
I'm looking like what?
like the Cheshire Cat. Like, I got something to say.
Well, not really. It's just, it's unfortunate that people feel like they have to put themselves in these situations where adverse things happen, or adverse things will happen, or you get cornered into a situation where if you don't take the bait, you get blacklisted.
So
because that happens.
How do you think that individuals, like I said, how can you help protect the people that are willing to put themselves up for slaughter?
I've put myself up for slaughter before, and and this is just me speaking from my own experience. I'm trying to give a good answer. I don't think that you really can protect yourself because, sometimes you go into situations and you don't plan for things like this to happen. They just do happen. So you have a choice to make. You either you fight back within the legal reins to do so, which is what I chose to do, or you find another job and you maneuver to where you are not in these situations. That's the only. It's like sink or swim.
Yeah, I mean, it was suck it up. You can't be out here, figure it out one way or another. Well,
because there's no right or wrong answer in situations where, there's actually something that happened and where you've been affected adversely by it.
You have to do what's best for you. What if you were okay with it until you weren't?
Again, if you know that you've made an exchange to be paid, you just have to take that L. It's something that you did, and unfortunately you regret it, but it's not something that you can seek legal recourse, but I don't think you should, especially when you knowingly engaged and signed up for something. Because you made a choice, and that choice was, I'm going to make this exchange for this. And it might not be the smartest thing to do. It might be something that you felt was right in the moment. And in hindsight, it was a bad choice. And sometimes we have to live with those bad choices that we make.
It is. That's accountability.
Yeah.
Like you said. Well, this seems like an appropriate topic to wrap out the night with. Kanye West posted 36 minutes ago on Instagram, and it says, Kim. I mean, I'm sure Kim has a phone or a DM, but Kim, take my kids out of Sierra Canyon now. It's a fake school for celebrities that are used by the system. The system is in quotes. And his caption goes on to say, at this point, everybody knows what the system is code word for. And he has the little eyes emoji. I was removed from my dad by the system, and the system removed me from my children. When the system drafts athletes, they avoid working with those who have their father in their life because they are harder to manipulate. My two oldest know they daddy. So, a couple of things. One,
He made some very, very strong, valid points.
Well, one, him saying his two oldest know his daddy. I always wonder if he felt different about the two children that she had via surrogate. Because at times there seemed to be some
disconnect.
So that is one. Two, I think it's interesting that he brings up athletes because that for so long was the stereotype and the thought process. But I think that is an old version of athletes and athletics that is very much not what is happening in the past few years, especially because of things like NIL, social media, and let's face it, something I brought up a lot about the fact that so many former athletes' children are coming up in various sports now and are being the spotlights. I told you not you, you all, my VIPs, when I reviewed the top 5 NIL deals, right? I think maybe it's the top 7. 5 of the 7 were children of former athletes. So I think that idea of the rough kid, not that there's not still there, but from the single parent home, hardworking mom, just trying to get it through, and they're talented. I think that archetype is still there, and probably will be for a while, but I don't know if that is still the face of the modern day professional athlete. Because you think about it like this: who's the star in the NFL right now, top star? It would be, you may not know this, Trent.
I don't.
I know, I'm joking. It's Patrick Mahomes, who comes from a 2-parent household, and oh, by the way, his dad was a former professional baseball player, right? I mean, you look at who's one of the top stars in the NBA right now. This one you do know, Steph Curry, whose dad was a former, 2-parent home, et cetera, et cetera. So I think that it's easy to lean back on that stereotype because people are familiar with it, and it's easy to wrap around and give that instant familiarity, but I don't think it counts as much anymore. What you got to say? You're laughing.
To an extent. But I think he just pulled that example like right off the top of his head, but it could be applied to so many other things too.
I mean, I think he pulled that example because Sierra Canyon right now is heavily known for their basketball program, and they have a couple. Scottie Pippen Jr. went there, who's obviously in the league and is Scottie Pippen's son. Kenyon Martin Jr., KJ, he played for the Clippers for a minute. I believe he was traded to Philly. He went there, these were on the teams that, went to the finals. We know Bronny obviously went there. Zaire Wade went there for a period of time. There's others, Kevin Hart's children went there. So, I don't know. What's up, Fahima? Welcome back. We appreciate you. Always. Prester John says, Kanye laid down with a vapid sociopathic woman with no redeeming values. Deal with it. I'm going to push back on that. What is Kim doing right now other than her social thing? What about her parenting says that she's sociopathic and vapid? Do the kids seem to be... I mean, North seems very creative.
That girl is off the chain.
And Kim, Kim lets her, I appreciate that Kim lets her explore her creative side. I know there have been debates on if she's too snippy or smart because, Black people are very much like, are you staying in a child's place? That might be too much mouth. But, sometimes things are different. But I think it's so easy to rest and fall back on Kim has no talent, Kim is pathetic, da-da-da-da-da-da. We are almost 20 years into the Kardashian revolution. And, I mean, no matter what you think of her, she has been a businesswoman, Kris Jenner, guidance as well, but, throughout the whole thing, and has elevated and pushed herself into spaces people said she would never get into. Oh, by the way, and overcame when you guys cast her to the side for her younger sister. Like, you're the old sister now. You played out. Came back and re-upped and was like, boom, I'm a Billy
still
again.
played out.
I mean, but, listen, and Ye isn't. I mean, Ye's fans are Ye's fans. They're going to lock down and ride for him till the wheels fall off. He obviously was talking the other day about Adidas releasing fake Yeezys because he didn't authorize them. So Kanye is going to do Kanye, and I would like him to allow his wife to start wearing underwear because I fear that her coming in contact with so many random spaces and places just for fashion is going to lead to some uncomfortable events further down the line.
Yeah.
Listen, thanks VIPs for locking in. We always appreciate it. Make sure that you are following Trent Jackson, Trent the artist, everywhere. Download and subscribe to his podcast, In the Mix with Trent, and all of that goodness. We appreciate you locking in. Yes. Hit us up every night, 9 p.m. here on KBLA Talk 1580 with me, RSVP. Have an amazing night, y'all.
So baby,